Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, don't call it a comeback. He's been here for years. And we're talking about our main man, Sisriket Sor Rungviasi. You know, the fighting pride of Thailand. You know, Thailand's very own Rungviasi. Now, many of you I haven't made a Rungviasi video in a while because, quite frankly, there hasn't been anything to make a video for about a year in regards to Rungviasi because he's had a year layoff and he's not really somebody that talks a lot or is in the news because he doesn't really say much. But it has been reported and it has been confirmed that Rungviasi will return from a 1-year layoff on April the 4th in Thailand as he fights former world champion Amnat Ruanrong. Now, many of us may remember Ruanrong. He got that decision over McWilliams Arroyo in the IBF title fight years ago. And Arroyo should have been the champion, but Ruanrong is a solid fighter. He's someone that he's a solid guy. So it's a warm up fight for Rungviasi, but it's not really a warm up fight because Ruanrong is a good fighter and he's former world champion, former IBF world champion. So he cannot be taken lightly in this fight. But it's good to see that Rungviasi is back in the ring because he had a meteoric rise. He had a meteoric rise in 2017. He beat Raul Gonzalez twice. And honestly, now that Gonzalez has become world champion again, and he's put to bed all the bullshit about him being shot and not as good as he used to be. Now that Raul Gonzalez has embarrassed Calify and made him look like a nothing fighter, and become world champion, ended the reign of the longest, current UK world champion at the time. How good do Rungvisai's wins over Gonzalez look right now? They look amazing. And to be fair, he is the only man, amateur or pro, because remember, Chocolatito Gonzalez went 88-0 as an amateur, and he was 46-0 before. He was 46-0 before Rungviasi defeated him. He's the only man, amateur or pro, to defeat Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. So it kind of goes to show you the fighter that he is, and then he had the first fight with Estrada where he showed that he was more than just some rugged, come forward, strong fighter. He could actually, box and counterpunch and be a thicky man's fighter. He actually outboxed Estrada when many of us thought he couldn't, and then Estrada came back and put on a boxing clinic in the second fight, in the rematch. So, it's good to see that he's back in the ring. Here's what he had to say about his upcoming fight. Let's see what Rungviasi had to say about his upcoming fight on April the 4th. He said, I quote, For this warm-up fight with Amnat, I want to show my physical ability to Estrada, and that I still have the thirst for a third fight with him because I want to bring my championship belt back home to my country. I am counting the days to part 3, but before I get there, I have this fight, which I know is not easy because Ruanrong is a great fighter and a former world champion, and I can't underestimate him. Guarantee that it will be a fun fight for sure. So listen, Rungviasi is talking up a massive game. He wants all the smoke. This guy right here, if he can recapture anything close to the form he had in 2017 and even in the early part of 2018 when he fought Estrada, I still think this guy has the quality to really become the #1 fighter in the division. Now he's been on the older side now. He's 33 years old, which is on the ancient side in the flyweights. So that's why you gotta kind of marvel at guys like Rungviasi and Roman Gonzalez who are 32, 33. Still competing at this weight class because in this weight class many times guys are finished at 29, 28, 30. They're done. But he's still here. He's still competing at the top level. How many fighters do you guys know fight another fighter at the natural weight who was a former world champion and call that a warm-up fight? That kind of just goes to show you the mentality Rungviasi has. And that's why I think that age for a guy like him, age is just truly a number because he's coming from Thailand. He's coming. He's hungry. He's coming from that third world poverty and whatnot. He comes from poverty. This guy used to eat rats, for crying out loud. So he wants all the smoke. He wants to really prove to the world that Estrada in the second fight that was just a great night for Estrada, and he was a better man on the night, but that he's still the better fighter. And I want to see that fight. And the winner of that fight can fight Chocolatito Gonzalez because there's a lot of clamoring right now for Roman Gonzalez to fight Estrada in a rematch next. There's people, like my dad and people in my comment section have been saying, well, Roman Gonzalez should fight Rungviasi straight away. I don't think so. I think Estrada and Rungvisai should have a trilogy because the first 2 fights were amazing. The first fight was one of the most technically brilliant fights ever in boxing history. Like I'm not even exaggerating. If you're into the subtleties and the technicalities of boxing, the first fight was a treat. The second fight was an absolute boxing clinic from Gallo Estrada, and the third fight would really determine who's the better of the two, and it would be just another great trilogy in the small weight classes. So. I want to see it. I want to see that fight. Rungvisai is talking like a hungry fighter. He's talking like a fighter that is pissed off for greatness. And I think that for that 1 year layoff, I don't know why he had a 1 year layoff. Maybe fighters ducked him. Maybe he took some time off. But regardless of what the reasoning was, I think it'll work out well for him because he had been in some big fights back to back to back. He fought. I mean, the guy fought. I mean, if we look at his resume, right? And I want to make sure that I have his exact resume in front of me. But he fought Gonzalez twice back to back. I don't think he had any interim fights. Did he have interim fights? No, he had one. Okay, he had one interim fight. So this guy, he fights Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, future Hall of Famer, a guy that many people are saying now is arguably the best fighter, in the small weight classes of the last 40 years, 50 years, and maybe one of the best ever. Some say this is the best ever. I've seen it in my comment section. I've seen it on social media. He fought him back to back. Chocolatito Gonzalez back to back. Has an interim fight. He has 2 interim fights in 2018. Then he fights Gallo Estrada twice. All right. Oh no, my bad. Scratch that. He fights Gonzalez twice. He fights Gonzalez twice. Beats him very closely in a decision. Stops him horribly. Damn near ended his career in the second fight. Comes back, fights Estrada after fighting Gonzalez twice, outboxes Estrada to a majority decision. Then he has 2 interim fights. Then he fights Gallo Estrada again in 2019, and now he's having a warm-up fight against a former world champion. So Rungvisai, man, he's had a brilliant career. He's really been a testament to Thailand. This is a guy who, if we could go back all the way to the beginning of his career, he didn't win a fight till his fourth professional fight. He got stopped in his first 2 fights. He had a draw in his third fight. He was 1-3-1 in his first 5 professional fights, and he's parlayed that. He's come from being 1-3-1. He was the underdog. He was the underdog in obscurity from Thailand who wasn't supposed to be shit in boxing, and he parlayed a 1-3-1 record to becoming a Thailand boxing legend, to becoming one of the most destructive and devastating forces the flyweight division and the super flyweight division has ever seen in the history of boxing. And he beat the all-time great Roman Gonzalez in one of the great upsets in boxing history. He then came back and proved that it wasn't a fluke in the rematch and stopped him again. He did something that we thought he couldn't do. He outboxed the great Juan Gallo Estrada, and now he's fighting I'm Not Wrong. This is the same Rungvisai who fought Carlos Cuadras, and he was winning that fight up until the cuts. And he lost on a technical decision, but he was beating his ass up until the cuts. So this guy is a true champion, and I mean that in every sense of the word, because he's come from adversity, he's come from the mud, and he's willed himself. He's picked himself up by the bootstraps, and he's made himself a great fighter. He's made himself one of the most destructive fighters in the super flyweight division. And I'm really excited for his fight April 4th against I'm Not Wrong. I'm happy to see that he's in the ring, and I'm happy that he's calling out Gallo Estrada because I like Gallo Estrada. I'm a huge fan of him, but it's like ever since I just noticed this. I'm just being objective here as a long time Gallo Estrada fan. Been talking about him for years on my YouTube channel. Ever since Gallo Estrada beat Rungvisai in the second fight, the way he beat him, people are now making it seem like Gallo Estrada is unbeatable when he's not. The media is giving him a lot of hype, and I'm all for it because the small weight class needs as much hype as they can get. But I'm saying, it almost seems like people are saying he's unbeatable. And that's not the case. Roman Gonzalez already beat him, okay? And then Rungvisai outboxed him. Rungvisai outboxed him in the first fight, and everybody's forgetting about it. It was a close fight, but Rungvisai outboxed him. Everyone's forgetting about it. So he can be outboxed. He can lose a fight if a guy has a high work rate. And Rungvisai sounds like a hungry fighter. He sounds like a confident fighter, and he sounds like a fighter that could beat Estrada. So hopefully he wins this fight, and then he can fight Estrada next. And whoever wins Estrada versus Rungvisai 3, they can get the honor to fight Roman Gonzalez, whether it be Estrada fighting Roman Gonzalez in a rematch or Rungvisai trying to go 3-0 against Roman Gonzalez. And how crazy would it be if he beats Ruin Wrong, Estrada, and then beats Gonzalez, and it's 3-0 against the great Roman Chalatio Gonzalez in his career. You know what I mean? Then he's going to the Hall of Fame. Then he's got to go to the Hall of Fame. He's got to go to the Hall of Fame if that happens. And you could make the argument now, just with the handful of great wins he has, he might even have a Hall of Fame career already. But that's just my opinion. But leave your comments down below. It's the return of Rungviasi, April the 4th in Thailand. I'm hyped for it. You know, what do you guys make of him calling out Gaio Estrada for a third fight? And who would you favorite in the third fight? And yeah, leave your comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.